Hello everyone, it's your friend, your boy, Jet Black the one and only, here with another exciting video. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about Dr. Fate. Give me one moment to get the music set up for this, by the way. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day today. If you guys are excited for today's video, make sure you guys smash that like button and share this video with a friend. Hopefully this video is premiering tonight at 8 p.m. I'm a little late at starting on this video. It is currently 7:40 p.m. So I'm going to have to make sure that I'm able to finish this video up and submit it for publishing in the next 20 minutes or so. So we'll see how that goes. But without further ado, let's hop right in. This is the character that you guys voted for in tonight's poll. Shout out to Kratos and Volt, by the way, for recommending that I do a video on this character. Dr. Fate, the most powerful heroic sorcerer on Earth. Dr. Fate is an agent of the Lords of Order that has fused itself into several champions via a magic helmet, cloak, and amulet. Aliases include Naboo, Kent Nelson, Inza Nelson, Eric Stratus, Linda Stratus, Jared Stevens, Hector Hall, Kent V. Nelson, and Khalid Nasur. There definitely have been a lot of Dr. Fates. That is something that I was aware of, but I was still surprised by the number of aliases that came up. There have been many Dr. Fates over the years. His first appearance was in More Fun Comics number 55 from the year 1940. Harnessing magical powers older than the beginning of human civilization, the being currently known as Dr. Fate has been defending the side of light since the days of ancient Egypt. Originally, one of the ancient beings known as the Lords of Order named Naboo, he originally possessed a human host body with which he became a mystical defender of humanity. As the centuries passed, the powers of Naboo were contained within a golden helmet, and the mortal chosen to wear it was given the name Dr. Fate. Over the past century, the Helm of Fate has been wielded by several individuals, starting with the archaeologist Kent Nelson in the days of World War II. Nelson wore the mantle of fate for decades before passing it on to his wife, Inza Nelson, and later Eric and Linda Strauss, smuggler Jared Stevens, and ultimately the son of the Golden Age Hawkman, Hector Hall. After all those different hosts, the helmet ended up in the possession of Kent Nelson's great-grandnephew, also named Kent Nelson. The most recent Dr. Fate was Khalid Nasur, yet another grandnephew of the first. I think it's weird that it keeps getting passed to grandnephews. It's a very specific setup. By the way, this is a reading and a commentary, so I am going to be not only reading this article, but commenting on it throughout. Dr. Fate's magical prowess is unmatched by almost all other magic users on Earth, depending on who bears the mantle. Having served with teams like the Justice Society and the Justice League, Dr. Fate has been a key player in major events in the DC Universe, like the Crisis on Infinite Earths and the Blackest Night. If there is a supernatural power that threatens to engulf the Earth, rest assured that Dr. Fate will be at the ready. But that time I tried to add words that weren't there. Ooh, there's an ad. That was the perfect time for me to hit a natural pause in the reading. Okay. So far I'm digging with that. So far I'm digging this Dr. Fate description. We've only just now finished the origin. I do want to comment, I think the Linda Strauss, Eric Strauss thing, if I remember correctly, they are both Dr. Fate, at the same time, almost like a firestorm situation where they're merging into one person. I might be wrong, but I'm sure we'll know soon enough when we hit up the origin section. Now, I do want to comment, I think it's really interesting that the son of Hawkman was Dr. Fate for a period of time. In the last video we did talking about Stargirl, I thought it was really cool that she got an old artifact from a past DC hero. She actually had two gadgets from older DC heroes that she used in order to become a brand new DC hero. I really love that legacy aspect that a lot of DC characters have, and I would love to see more legacy characters like this come about. I think that's really cool. So yeah, that's pretty hype. I dig that. Let's get into some origins. The Golden Age. Thousands of years ago, the Lord of Order called Nabu placed his mortal host body in suspended animation in ancient Egypt in order to heal himself from wounds inflicted over many centuries. Inside an ancient tomb, Nabu slept for thousands of years. In 1920, an archaeologist named Sven Nelson, along with his son Kent, discovered the ancient tomb in the Valley of Ur. When the tomb was opened, a deadly gas was released that killed Sven Nelson, leaving his son Kent an orphan. Feeling tremendous guilt over the death of of the boy's father, Nabu took him under his wing and, over the next 20 years, trained the boy in the use of magic. He bequeathed on him his mystical amulet, helmet, and cloak, as well as all the magical knowledge he had. And in 1940, Nelson decided to put his new abilities to use as Dr. Fate. As one of America's first costume superheroes, he was a founding member of the Justice Society of America, and later the wartime All-Star Squadron. On his first solo mission, Fate saved a woman named Inza Kramer from the evil sorcerer named Wotan. Not long after, the two were married, and Inza and Kent moved to a mystical tower in Salem, Massachusetts. Due to their vast mystical knowledge, the tower remained hidden and cloaked from mortal eyes, and both Kent and Inza were able to retain their youth for decades. So, out of that quick blurb, what I found interesting is that Nabu specifically took in the first Dr. Fate because he felt sorry that Kent Nelson's dad died while wandering in the tomb. I mean, if you didn't want people to go in your tomb and set up deadly gas to kill people who went in your tomb, I don't know why you'd feel sorry that the deadly gas killed them. You know what I mean? And I get that he could be like, well, I didn't expect the deadly gas to kill somebody with a kid and for the kid to survive or whatever, and for me to directly see that. But surely that must have come to your mind that if someone's going to wander into your tomb, maybe they have a family. It just seemed kind of weird. It's like if Dr. Fate wasn't there, like if just his dad went and his dad died, it sounds like there just wouldn't have been a Dr. Fate. There just would have been a dead-ass archaeologist in a tomb. And that just would have been it. So I don't know. I find that to be like an interesting concept. And why is it that the dad died but the boy didn't in that situation? That seems very... Because it's poison. If it's enough poison to kill a grown man, was there not enough to kill multiple people? What if a whole group of people tried to raid the tomb? It just seems short-sighted. Anyways, the Silver Age. After the war, Nelson retired from a life of adventuring to focus on archaeology, but when the rest of the Justice Society came out of retirement, so did Fate. The JSA teamed up with their successors in the Justice League on several occasions, and eventually, Fate even helped form a new Justice League when the previous one dissolved after the events of Crisis on Infinite Earths. Post-Crisis. Eventually, Kent and Inza Nelson passed away, and Nabu chose a child named Eric Strauss and the successor of Kent Nelson. Oh, they said and instead of as. That tripped me up. Chose a child named Eric Strauss as the successor of Kent Nelson as Fate. He magically transformed Eric into an adult. What? And one of his first missions fighting against an agent of chaos, he was mystically merged with his stepmother, Linda Strauss, and the two became a version of Dr. Fate who was independent of Nabu? So, post-crisis Dr. Fate. For one, I was surprised that Kent and Inza Nelson died. I didn't expect that, because they're in a tower where they stay young for many years. I just thought they would have stayed alive, but retired or something. So they straight up just die eventually, which I suppose makes sense. So, I thought it was interesting that the Helm of Fate chose a child. And then when they were it magically turns the child into an adult, I was like, I don't care for these Grammarly ads interrupting my thoughts. But anyways, so I think it's interesting that the Helm of Fate turns the child into an adult. I was like, oh, that's like Shazam. That's like the same gimmick as Shazam. That's cool. Then it's Linda Strauss is also Dr. Fate. They like combine together. And then I'm like, oh, so then it's like Shazam, but it's also like Firestorm, because where Shazam is a kid who turns into an adult superhero, Firestorm is two people who combine together into one superhero. So now it's a kid who gets turned into an adult who combines with another person to become a superhero. And I'm like, why is it his stepmom? That seems really awkward. I don't know, that almost seems comedic in a way. I don't know why it's like that, but that's really a trip. Anyways, in order to help train the Strausses as Fate, Naboo resurrected the body of Kent Nelson and inhabited it. What? So, why do you have to die then? They could have just made it where it's like they fused together. Kent Nelson had just retired and decided to pass his helm on to like the next generation, which is why he gives it to like a kid or whatever. And then he could have just trained him. Why does it have to be Naboo possesses the body of the dead Kent Nelson? Just let that nigga die. This is so weird. Like, either kill him or don't kill him. Don't do this. This is really weird. Can Naboo possess any corpse and just bring him back to life? Wait, if Naboo has the power to possess corpses, why the fuck is the Helm of Fate like waiting in a tomb for years and years and years? Why is it that when the helm initially became a thing or whatever, it didn't just possess the body of the person whose magic it comes from initially? Like, why isn't the OG sorcerer just always the one wearing the helm? Because the spirit of Naboo can just possess bodies and shit. Can it only possess recently dead bodies? Because that doesn't explain it either. When that nigga died initially, they should have possessed his body, and then he just would have stayed Fate. It's stupid. Anyways, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe tell me in the comment section. So, where we at? When Eric and Linda Strauss died in battle, that was quick. Their souls were reborn in the bodies of their friends, Wendy and Eugene DeBella. This one paragraph is insane. Naboo then restored Kent and Enza Nelson to life and reincarnated himself as Wendy and Eugene's child. What? Why is it dumb? Why is it dumb? Okay, hold on. Because I had to skip an ad. So you're telling me that Ken and Enza die, and then a kid gets chosen to be Dr. Fate, but then he ages up into an adult and then combines with his stepmother in order to become the new Dr. Fate. But then Naboo, who's normally the spirit in the Helm of Fate, possesses the body of dead Kent Nelson so that he can train them in order to become the perfect Dr. Fate. But then they die, and then they get... Did they say they get reincarnated as their friends? No. They're not reincarnated. Their souls are reborn, whatever that means, in the bodies of their friends. And then Naboo brings Kent and Enza back to life, because apparently Naboo can bring multiple people back to life. Why does anyone who wears the helm ever die? Why does that? Wait a minute. Hold on. Naboo brings Kent and Enza back to life, but he doesn't bring to life Eric and fucking... He doesn't bring back to life Eric and his stepmom, who just died. I don't... And then Naboo becomes Wendy and Eugene's baby. Why does Naboo need to be anybody? Why can't Naboo just be a fucking helmet? This is so weird. And that's just the beginning. I haven't gotten through most of the shit. Much like the Strausses before them, Kent and Enza now merge into one being to become Dr. Fate. Why? But after a brief time, the strain proved too much for Kent and Enza to become Dr. Fate complete. Oh, wait, what the fuck? Hold on. No. The strain proved to be too much for Kent, and Enza became Dr. Fate completely on her own. Why is it that Kent used to just be Dr. Fate by himself? But then, later on, because Kent and Enza are around the same age, are they not? Is Enza like significantly younger than Fate? Like, why is he like, strain, oh, can't do it, dead ass? So it went from like Dr. Fate has to be two people put together, and that was just like a thing they were doing, to like, well, actually, you can just be Dr. Fate as one person if you're strong enough. Cool, I guess. Maybe because Eric was like a child, he had to combine with his stepmom. But then why can't his stepmom just be Dr. Fate then? He's like, no, I want the kid. He's just not strong, so he needs a second. Bam. But then why not just have Kent and his wife be Dr. Fate? Why not the first nigga be Dr. Fate? It's so weird how they've like been switching this shit around. So I've been using this awesome that's the fucking Ebates ad. Okay, let's skip this. Cool. We're back. Let's keep on keeping on. Her solo career as Fate did not last long though, as both Kent and Enza were killed after the so-called crisis in time called 0 Hour. All that was left of Fate now was his helmet and mystical talismans. But we know that Naboo can bring them back to life, like he did already. It doesn't matter if 0 Hour happened, just bring them back to life. What about fucking Wendy and Eugene? Why couldn't they take on the Helm of Fate? I don't understand. Whew. Okay, smuggler Jared Stevens melted down the helmet and amulets into a mystical dagger. What? And went by the name Fate, no Doctor, as he refused the formal title when Naboo tried to bestow it on him. Instead, this version of Fate was a demon hunter. That's very different, but I kind of like that. That sounds kind of cool. I feel like I'd read that. I want to hit that up. Yeah. Jared Stevens' career as Fate was equally short-lived. Why? Eventually, the powerful wizard Mordru sought to retrieve the artifacts of Naboo and killed Stevens to get them. When he takes them for himself, they revert to their original forms of a helmet and an amulet. Why? The next to bear the name Dr. Fate was Hector Hall, the son of the original Dr. Fate. Wait, hold on. The wizard Mordru is like, I'm trying to get the artifacts of Naboo. He kills Stevens to get them, but the next bearer of the next person to wear the helm isn't Mordru? It's the son of Hawkman. Why isn't it Mordru? Why did Mordru steal them if not to become Dr. Fate? What else do you use them for? That's so wild. This version of Fate served in the newly revived Justice Society of America for some time, until a mad version of the Spectre, who was attempting to destroy all magic, banished Hall to a mountaintop where he eventually died. Hold on. At the beginning of this article, they're like, Dr. Fate is the most powerful magic user in the DC Universe, and if the entire Earth is threatened by evil magic, then Dr. Fate will be able to rescue the planet. The Spectre banished Dr. Fate to the top of a mountain, where he then proceeds to die. Oh no! On top of a mountain with no food or water! I'm the most powerful magic user on all of the planet. No food or water on a mountain. Oh no, I'm dead. The Spectre got me, the mountain. The Spectre is like the spirit of God's wrath or whatever, but you could have killed him in like a really crazy way. You didn't have to leave him on top of a mountain. That didn't make any damn sense. But I do think it's interesting the concept of the Spectre wanting to destroy all magic. That's actually a really solid plot point. Also, it's like 7:57, so this video's gonna be late. My apologies. I should have done this earlier, but I didn't think the Dr. Fate article was gonna be this crazy. Finding itself without a host once again, Naboo manifests within the helmet without the need of a host body. What? This is just repeatedly triggering. So he can bring past hosts back to life, but he doesn't. He can just pick host, can he? Isn't that a thing that he did? Yeah, Naboo picked a kid last time. So hold on. He can bring host back to life, which he doesn't do. He can pick people to be his host, which he doesn't do. And then he's like, fuck it. I don't need a host anymore. It's just me. I can just be the helmet. And that's all I need. Why didn't you just do that? It makes the part where he's just in a tomb waiting for essentially nothing really confusing. Because he can just always be Dr. Fate and he doesn't need anybody else. And what happened with the Spectre? Wasn't he trying to destroy all magic? I guess not, because Naboo can just be a nigga, but whatever. Anyways, realizing he will soon finally depart from this plane of existence, Naboo asked Captain Marvel to throw the helmet into space, hoping that it finds a new and worthy bearer. Why not ask Captain Marvel? Why does it need to be in space? Why does Dr. Fate... Is he trying to be alien Dr. Fate? They just established that he can control the helmet himself. Though he does say that he's gonna, like, cease to exist. But that implies that, like, if he gets a new host, he wouldn't have to cease to exist. Captain Marvel has, like, the wisdom of Solomon and shit. I feel like he'd probably be a great Dr. Fate. This is so wild. All of this is like really crazy. And it all comes down to Dr. Fate making poor decisions, I would say. When it crashes down back to Earth, it lands in a dumpster and is found by none other than Kent V. Nelson, the original Kent Nelson's grandnephew. Interestingly, Kent V. Nelson meets a woman, also named Inza, with whom he becomes romantically involved, just like his famous relative did, and follows in his footsteps by joining the Justice Society of America. I hate that. That sounds absolutely horrible. So, the Helm of Naboo can just resurrect Kent and Inza. He's done it before. We just read that earlier. Right? Why do we need new Kent and new Inza to become the new Dr. Fate pair and be in the JSA when we can just have resurrected Kent and resurrected Inza and they can just be in the JSA? Give me one moment to reply to my girlfriend real quick. She sent me a message and I don't want to leave her on red for too long. Let's see. I'm going to tell her right now I am recording a video. And then I'm going to say I love you. And then I'm going to go over to another thing because I just got a message. I'm going to let them know what's going on. Right now I am recording the Dr. Fate video. Cool. Okay. Let's get back to it. This fucking insanity. The New 52. When the DC Universe timeline was reimagined after the events of 2011's Flashpoint, the mantle of Dr. Fate was passed on to an Egyptian-American medical student named Khalid Nassour, who was bestowed the Helmet of Fate by the goddess Bastet. It turned out that Nassour's mother was the niece of Kent Nelson, also making him Nelson's grandnephew, if and when Kent Nelson was ever Dr. Fate in this new timeline has yet to be revealed. So I actually read, like, the Khalid Nassour Dr. Fate. That's, like, the only Dr. Fate that I've read. I'm not sure if I read all of it, but I read a good bit of it. Here are the powers and abilities of your boy Dr. Fate. Dr. Fate is one of the most powerful sorcerers on Earth, and is matched by almost no one in the art of casting spells. Among his innate mystical abilities, Fate has super strength, the ability to fly, mental powers like telekinesis and telepathy, and he can summon lightning and fire at will. His spells manifest as ancient Egyptian symbols, usually an Ankh. Fate can travel through dimensions, turn invisible, and summon force fields to protect himself from harm. He's used magic to time travel, turn invisible, resurrect the dead, teleport, phase through, I guess, objects of any kind, astral project, and many other fantastic abilities. Fate's biggest weakness is that once a spell has been cast against him, by the rules of magic, he cannot make a counterspell. What? So, Fate's biggest weakness is that if you cast it like... That's very confusing. Even in this picture right here, John Constantine is shooting an energy blast, a magical energy blast, at Dr. Fate, who then is clearly using magic, this Ankh, to deflect the spell away. So what do you mean his biggest weakness is that he can't counter? Excuse me, it looks like he's literally countering a spell in the picture. So that just seems like an inaccurate weakness. But his ability to bring the dead back to life is pretty hacks. I mean, not to say that traveling through dimensions isn't also hacks. Also, one of his powers is that he can summon force fields to protect himself, which is what I imagine is happening in the picture. But does that not count as a counter spell? Like, I don't get it. Is it that, like, if he has a defense, he has to put up his defense first? He can't do it in reaction to something? Because that's really interesting. That implies that Dr. Fate always has to be one step ahead of his enemies. I think that's actually a really cool concept. So, hey, I kind of fuck with that. That's kind of a cool idea. Now, let's go through Dr. Fate's storylines and history. The Origin of Dr. Fate. More Fun Comics number 67, 1941. In Dr. Fate's first appearance, we get no backstory on the character, as was often typical of the newly minted superheroes of the era. In fact, Fate's early JSA appearances in All-Star Comics suggested that he wasn't even human at all. It wasn't until a year into his adventures that we received the full story of Dr. Fate's origin, and it was revealed that he was an archaeologist, Kent Nelson, underneath the helmet of the Magical Mystery Man. To be honest, I prefer the idea of an inhuman Dr. Fate. When they mentioned the idea of the helm just being possessed by the spirit Naboo and him being able to be Dr. Fate without a host, I kind of fucked with it. That wasn't a bad idea. I feel like they could have just stuck with that. Crisis on Earth 1, Justice League of America, number 21, 1962. After many years of retirement, Dr. Fate and the rest of the Justice Society returned when they discovered the super team known as the Justice League of America. The Justice League of America lived on a parallel world designated Earth 1, while Fate and his JSA compatriots lived on Earth 2. Once the two teams met for the first time to solve a crime, and a YouTube music ad. Give me one moment to get past this ad. Hey, here we go. The JLA lived on the parallel world designated Earth 1, while Fate and his JSA compatriots lived on Earth 2. Once the two teams met for the first time to solve a crime, they crossed dimensions frequently for annual meetings. Dr. Fate was semi-active during all this time. Cycles. Dr. Fate 1 through 4, 1987. After the multiverse-altering Crisis on Infinite Earths, Earths 1 and 2 were merged into one. All of Fate's adventures were now said to have no taken place on this new composite Earth. So Dr. Fate's... The two worlds combined, and then they were like, but all the Dr. Fate shit didn't happen. Worlds put together, Dr. Fate's history, gone. Sure, I don't know why. Seems like if you're putting the worlds together, you could just be like, and Dr. Fate stuff just happened along with everything else. But nope. So all that old shit didn't matter. Cool. During the late 80s, Fate returned to active duty and helped form what would become the Justice League International. Not long after, Kent and Enza Nelson would die, and the mantle of Dr. Fate would pass to Eric and Linda Strauss, before passing back to a resurrected Enza Nelson. All of these iterations of Dr. Fate would serve with the Justice League International on a limited basis. Justice Be Done. JSA number 1 through 4, 1999. After a brief stint in the grim and gritty 90s, where smuggler Jared Stevens was the knife-wielding, helmetless Fate, the classic helmet and cape Dr. Fate returned in the son of the Golden Age Hawkman, Hector Hall. The classic iteration of Fate was reborn, and along with him, an all-new Justice Society of America. This JSA was made up of mostly of the sons and daughters of the original members, and Hector Hall served with the team for some time. Unfortunately, this time with the Justice Society ended in tragedy, as he and his wife Lita, the former superhero in Fury, were killed. Together, they joined the son Daniel, also known as the Sandman, in the world of the dreaming. The Blood Price, Dr. Fate, number 1 through 7, 2015. Following the events of 2011's Flashpoint in the New 52, there was no golden age of heroes, so there was no Dr. Fate in the 1940s, and presumably, no one for Kent Nelson to pass his mantle to. In this new universe, the Helmet of Fate, which still once belonged to Nabu in this timeline, was granted to an Egyptian-American medical student named Khalid Nassour by the goddess Bastet, who just also happened to be his pet cat. While not making him as wildly powerful as previous Dr. Fates in other realities, Nassour could still fly, control wind and rain, and fire magical bolts of energy. After the events of 2016's DC Universe Rebirth number 1, it was revealed that there may in fact have been a Justice Society in Earth's past after all, and Khalid Nassour was in fact the grandnephew of Kent Nelson. Dr. Fate has been a member of the Justice Society of America, the All-Star Squadron, Justice League International, and the Sentinels of Magic. Dr. Fate has made many appearances. He appeared in the live-action Smallville series. In animation, he appeared in Superman the Animated Series, Justice League Unlimited, Batman the Brave and the Bold, Young Justice, and Justice League Action. He made a guest appearance in a DC Nation short, and he appeared in the following video games: DC Universe Online, DC Legends, Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham, Injustice Gods Among Us, and Injustice 2. I'd like to thank you all for watching this video on Dr. Fate. I definitely think that his many different iterations are probably the craziest part about the character, unless you also take into account that he's had a crazy set of powers throughout all his different iterations, and that his main weakness is that he can't counter, so he has to be proactive. So I would say those are the things, the elements of Dr. Fate that really stand out to me personally, are just how many powers he has, how crazy his different iterations are. I said other stuff. Oh, and the fact that he has to be proactive. I think those are the three things about Dr. Fate that I think really stand out to me. What do you guys like about Dr. Fate? Definitely let me know in the comment section below. It's currently 8:10 p.m., so this video minimum is going to be 10 minutes late. My apologies on that, guys. If you guys haven't checked out this video yet, feel free to check out my video, These Superheroes Do Not Exist, is a project that I'm working on with John Mason, which may actually have a crowdfunding campaign. I need to check my messages from John Mason. He had some new information on that. But anyways, thank you all for tuning in. If you guys like this video, make sure to smash that like button, favorite, comment, subscribe, share this video with your friends, and ding ding to be notified whenever we do these videos. Also, in the comment section below, tell me which DC character should I read over and do a commentary track on next. Thank you all for watching. This show is your friend, your boy, Jump Like the One and Only, logging out. Peace, guys. Chicken to God.